Hey everyone, this is Chase back again from the All Blue crew. We're looking at match 2, so this is round 2 of Locals, Wednesday Night Locals, running Lucci. We're going to be playing against Red Green Law, and I believe I'm on the play here. And just kind of looking at my opening hand, this does seem like a pretty decent hand here going first. Got a Spandam into a Brook. Now because this is Red Green Law, a lot of 1-drops, a lot of 2-drops, so that Brook's going to easily be able to kind of keep the board a little manageable, and hopefully we're going to use this Spandam to try to find a Lucci. Lucci's probably one of the best cards in this matchup, and kind of the reason this deck kind of has fallen out of favor. I actually played Red Green Law back in 05 when Sakazuki first came out, and it was not an easy match at all. But Red Green Law did put up some results back in Utrecht regionals, European regionals, a few weeks ago. Ended up taking first place, and so it made me wonder, how many Luccis did they face? Were the Luccis just very unlucky? Because this matchup is very favored on the Lucci side. So 1, 2 Spandams. Can we hit the third? No, that's a Lucci there. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. But yeah, it's kind of pretty funny hitting 2 out of our 4 Spandams with a Spandam. But yeah, we found our Lucci. We've got a Brook in hand. No stage, but I don't foresee us really needing the stage in this matchup. Just because a lot of the resources that Law is going to put into play is going to be 1 to 2 drops, with the occasional 3 to 5 drop. They do run Cavendish, as well as the blocker Law. And I'm just moving it back into frame. There's like a really awkward glare right there where I was playing. But a little Jewelry Bonnie to start off. I am probably just going to end up cleaning that up with Brook here. Them finding a Zoro. So I know there's going to be a Zoro that's going to be coming down at some point, pressuring my life. And so I'm going to try to stay relatively healthy this match. Just because there's so many rush threats, as well as like that 5-drop Luffy. And so here I decide I'm just going to go 5 in the lead. We're going to mill the top 2. We see a Brook in the yard, and then we're going to just -1 Bonnie for funsies. But we're going to go 5 at lead here. And I could have, attacked 2 into the Jewelry, but I do want to just keep my guy up for potential ways to clear the board as well. So Spandam just kind of sitting there on standby. He could eventually push damage at the end, or he could just be used to clean up some of those searchers that do rest themselves to search. I know this deck runs at least the Bonnie. Looks like he drops a Nami. Pretty well set up. I did find the Gecko here. Just kind of keep filling up trash. I do again. I'm just kind of waiting. So the opponent did get that early information where I did have that Lucci in hand. So my opponent's definitely going to play a little differently because they know at any point Lucci could come down and kind of sweep 2 things off the field. But this Brook here being an excellent play before Lucci, because this Brook is just going to keep trying to clean up a lot of their small bodies. So regardless of them playing around the Lucci, I'm still going to just be KOing at least 1 thing a turn, which will hopefully kind of keep him off of that 5 character limit, which Law really starts to pop off. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one. My hand, I have a lot of tools in my hand. I don't really want to counter with any of them. So that first hit on the 5 health leader is pretty free. So another Tempest kick to hand. That's going to potentially allow me to KO some higher costs later in the game. I think the curve for Red Green Law ends at 5, with Cavendish being the newest introduction in EB01, as well as the 5-drop Law and the 5-drop Luffy. So that -3 is going to come pretty nice, in addition to... there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cycle. So my philosophy with Tempest Kick is if you've got 2 in your hand and they don't really, and you know the matchup, right? So I know this matchup, he's not going to be dropping anything potentially too large, then I can go ahead and just cycle one of them with no effect, just to kind of get that card out of my hand, because if you're under 10 Dawn and don't have a lot to target with, those Tempest Kicks can gum up your hand pretty well. And at this point I'd rather have counter, because again, Red Green Law is not going to go for board, they're going to go for face. So I'm going to go ahead and attach 2 to Brook, go ahead and swing 6 at lead. I don't really feel reason to develop my board any further, because again, I'm just going to use my little bodies to pressure. He does activate a Radical Beam there, a no-value Radical Beam just for a 2k counter, and then I'm going to swing 7 into lead, milling some good targets into the yard, and he's going to take that as well. So Law down to 2. I'm still at 4. I've got a Brook on the field. I've got at least, to his knowledge, 1 Lucci in hand. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Law still has an empty board. Law typically by their turn 3, they want to have at least 2 to 3 characters on board so they can start doing all those shenanigans. But I'm really setting them back. So gonna go ahead and send 6 at lead. I do have a Kalifa in my hand that I could counter with, or actually no, that was my yard. I do not have any 2Ks in hand, so this is probably just gonna eat another card. And actually, it goes a Brook. My bad. It's a little hard to remember some of these plays, but so Brook, again, killing Brook is really important. I unfortunately did not have really any counter in my hand. I was hoping to use that Tempest kick to cycle out, and then he's going to drop a Cavendish as well as 2 choppers. So now, for him, he's kind of using those choppers as bait. Chopper, to pull out my Lucci, but I do have the Tempest kick in hand. Gonna go do a quick count of the graveyard. And I think I count 9 cards there, or 8 cards, so I'll be able to swing with lead or cast Tempest Kick. When you play Tempest Kick, if you've got 9 cards in yard, it counts itself, so you can do the -3. So that's a pretty neat little trick there, because in One Piece, when you play an event, it immediately goes, it's a part of the trash as it resolves, so you get any of those bonuses. So I'm going to go ahead and send 6 at lead, -1 on the chopper, and then he's just going to block with the chopper. As I shared in the last video, every time you minus on a blocker, typically they're going to block with that blocker. So I am going to just go ahead and go for the more bodies on board play, and I'm going to play that Helmeppo. Save that Tempest Kick in hand for maybe another turn, and then I'll just Lucci both those away. Just go ahead and bottom deck some useless cards here. I do have a lot of Spandams, but I do decide to go ahead and throw the Brook back, just because there's another Brook in yard. So if I do find a Rebecca, I can get that Brook back, and I do have that Spandam and Spandine in hand, which can be used to pull a Lucci from the trash into play if I bottom deck some CP cards. So keeping the yard healthy of CP in Lucci is pretty necessary, as well as I also have that Kaku in hand, which is going to rely on 2 CP. Alright, Red Green Law going to go 5 in the lead. That gives me the perfect opportunity to go ahead and throw Spandine in the yard, countering for 1. And then let's see what he does here. He doesn't know that I have another Lucci in hand, so the Lucci that he thought I had is already in play. So he's going to go ahead and play a Zoro, swing again. I'm at 4 life. I'll go ahead and take it. Taking myself down to 3. And then he's going to restand the Zoro and swing again. I don't really feel comfortable going down from 3 to 2 here, so I am going to go ahead and potentially give him a card. I only have 2 cards with counter in my hand. My hand is pretty bricked right now when it comes to counter, but luckily he's not putting on too much aggression, and I'll just go ahead and counter with that Sabo. With having a Gecko in hand, I am setting myself up for a Gecko play, but you'll notice I still don't have a Lucci in the yard, I don't think yet. But we do find a Rebecca, which is going to give us a Brook potentially, or I can get that Sabo back. Allow me to do a lot of shenanigans there. And let's see here. So we do have at least -1 on board. With a Tempest Kick is a -3, so I could potentially piece together something here to wipe the board. I am on 9 Dawn. So we'll go ahead and go 5. I believe this 5 is going to be going into lead. Go ahead and mill 2. Got a Sabo and a Kalifa. The 5 is going to go. So we're going to -1 on Zoro, and I think that 5 is going to lead. So looks like he's going to counter out of it. And then I'm going to I believe I'm going to Tempest Kick here. So just thinking, Lucci takes a little bit of math. Gonna go ahead and send the Lucci in at lead. Go ahead and send 6 at lead. Just keep trying to pressure the life, pressure the hand size as well, potentially with him getting so low at this point. Just searching through the yard. Yep, I still don't have a Lucci in the yard, so I am less interested in Geckoing this turn. So I'm gonna go ahead and Tempest Kick. We're gonna -3 on that guy, and I do find myself a second Tempest Kick. So I was thinking, you know, regardless of what I draw here, I do have that Rebecca, with leaving me with 4 Dawn left, can find the Brook. The Brook can make my numbers easy, right? The Brook can come down -1 on one of those 2-drops, which allows them to come into Lucci range. So Brook's going to come in, he's going to -1 on Zoro, and then I'm going to use the other 4 Dawn that I have up to play the second Lucci. And the opponent definitely wasn't prepared for me to have 2 Luccis here. So he probably felt pretty safe into that turn, and we'll replace that Helmeppo, kind of setting myself up for a, you know, Helmeppo Lucci play. If I can get a Lucci into the yard. So if he does decide to swing at a Lucci here, I will most likely let it die. My hand is still not very good. I think I literally have 1k counter in my hand. So if he swings at Lucci, I want Lucci to go into the yard, because that means Gecko is live for the next turn. And basically in this matchup, if I can Lucci every turn, I'm pretty much guaranteed to win the game. Which again makes me kind of question what happened for that red-green law that did really well in the regionals and ended up winning the regionals. You know, how did they dodge so many Luccis? You know, are people not playing Lucci? Is there a deck out there that's just, you know, being a very good contender for Lucci? I don't know, other than Black Yellow Luffy. I don't know. It's a good question. Red Green Law goes ahead and plays a Robin to KO my Rebecca, which is great in most circumstances to try to push damage, but he doesn't have a board. So if anything, this is setting me up again for a Gecko turn next turn, because now I do have the Spandine in yard. I just need to get a Lucci in yard, and I can do the Gecko Rebecca Spandine combo into Lucci. So we'll see what he does here. Drops a blocker Law. Probably going to bounce that Robin and potentially do something with it. Going to play out a Chopper blocker. That's the 3rd Chopper blocker I've seen. It's probably not going to be around a long while for this little battle here with Brook sitting on the board. Goes ahead and attaches 4. He's going to send 9 at Lucci, and that like pretty much is exactly what I wanted to happen, right? With the Gecko in hand, he popped my Rebecca. He popped my Lucci, so now I'm just fully set up to wipe the board again with another Lucci. And again, use Gecko to kind of set up that late game dominance. With him only being at 1 life, a few cards in hand, I'm feeling pretty confident here in my ability to end the game and, you know, continue to control the board. So Tempest kick in hand, got the Gecko in hand. Definitely pondering some thoughts here. You know, I could... Instead, I do have that Brook in play already. You know, Brook could attack and go ahead and pop the Chopper, and then I could just Tempest kick the Law, which I'm going to do here, and I could just Kaku it, and then use my Dawn to try to finish the turn. And we'll see here. I think he only has like 2 cards in hand and 1 card in life, so I could just like be very aggressive this turn. I'll end up having 4 Dawn left to swing with, and you know, the math does kind of check out here. If he does only have 2 cards in hand, and then the odds of him having, you know, 2-2Ks is, you know, is there. He hasn't really used any 2Ks this game, so I know you know, a 9K can connect, but if he doesn't, you know, we'll see. So it looks like I am going to go ahead and play out the Rebecca, and yeah, I am going to do the Rebecca. I'm gonna do the Rebecca Lucci combo without Gecko Moria, because I want to leave those 5 other Dawn for my ability to close out the game here, because I do have technically 3 attackers that, you know, don't require a lot of resources to swing for big numbers, and so we're gonna go ahead and bottom deck 3 Cypher pull cards, play out the Lucci. Lucci's going to come in and clean up the 2 blockers that I assume my opponent was really relying on here. And we'll go ahead and bottom deck a few cards here. Get that Sabo out here. I do have 2 Helmeppos in the yard, so I only needed 1. And then we're just going to throw a Tsuru on the bottom of the deck. So now the board is clear. Opponent has 2 or 3 cards in hand, and I've got 5 Dawn up. So this will allow me to just kind of pressure life a little bit more. And I think I'm just going to try to poke with 6k on Brook first, and then we'll see what happens. We're going to go 7k on lead first. And then we could do, 7K, 5K, 8K, something like that. We'll just see what he ends up doing. I'm in a very advantageous position here. If he decides to counter out his whole hand, this game is pretty much over anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach 1 to Brook, and we'll go 5 at lead with Brook. So he's going to give me a 1K counter, and then I'm just going to attach 2 more. We're going to go 8, check him for 2Ks, and he actually doesn't have it.